Which three-game stretch will define Missouri's college football season in 2025? I genuinely think that there is a right answer. But to answer that question, let me ask you another question. What are your expectations out in Como this upcoming fall? Because the Tigers are coming off back-to-back 10-win campaigns with Eli Drinkwitz. They're not changing coordinators, but there is a lot of new. It's a new quarterback. It's a new offensive personnel. 21 transfers joined the Tigers via the portal this offseason. And the schedule is extremely manageable, but you don't know how all of these pieces are going to gel together. They could go down either pathway of success or defeat, and neither should be shocking. Okay, now that you've answered that question, my personal belief, it's at Auburn, it's at Vanderbilt, it's home against Texas A&M. So let's break it all down, Tiger Nation. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. It's Cole Thompson here. Like the video, hit the ring notification. Tigers, you know you love me. You know you love Mizzou football. We talk Mizzou football, college football daily. So smash that subscribe button. Make sure that you check out our great work found at secunfiltered.com. Download the podcast version of the show and check us out on social media at SEC Unfiltered and at Mr. Cole Thompson. As always, we're proudly fueled by our friends over at FANDUEL. Go visit FANDUEL.com/SECU. Get started today with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Lay down $5. The Tigers are going to the postseason for the first time in program history. Win that bet. Get $250 in bonus bets in the process. Now, I want to preface this and say that the Alabama game was nearly considered, and the South Carolina game was nearly considered. But when I look at the schedule in general, there's going to be a slew of games that you just got to leave out. And I didn't want to leave out the Texas A&M game, even though I really want to put the Alabama game in here. So just credit where credit's due. Alabama game, massive trap spot for the Crimson Tide. You're coming off of a bye week. You're going to have this as your final homestand before you got to go on the road. You could easily win that one. You could easily at least make this an entertaining matchup. So I'm not going to sell stock on that one or the South Carolina game. But these three games, really important. Let's start off with Auburn. Everyone remember the game last year? Because it was one of the best moments. Homecoming, you lose Brady Cook early on, and everyone is starting to wonder, okay, how good really is this Mizzou team? And the Tigers are rolling, the Auburn Tigers. And lo and behold, the prodigal son returns to Farote Field. And he has the moment of a lifetime playing off of Percocets and sheer determination, realizing that his body is going to be put on the line for Missouri to get to a 10-win season. And they come back, and Brady Cook's a hero. And everyone looks at this team slightly different because of just the fight that they have underneath Eli Drinkwitz. Well, you probably should have lost that game. If we're just being completely transparent, you found a way to come back and win. Now you got to go do Jordan-Hare. And Jordan-Hare is a completely different atmosphere. And I'm saying this as a college football stan, not as somebody that likes to see Mizzou be successful. That happens last year. You do not win that game. You don't. Because in Jordan-Hare's atmosphere is going to take over. It is going to swallow up teams that don't know how to play without their first punch. And it happens constantly, especially if Auburn can be a good team. And Auburn is a lot like Missouri in a bit of a different way, but still lots of new pieces and a lot of expectations. The fans out on the plains are expecting this team to be not bowl eligible, not even college football playoff darkers. No, they expect them to be in the hunt going into the final week of the regular season when they welcome in Alabama for what is going to be an epic Iron Bowl. That's what they expect, is they have the talent. The difference is that the new this year is not going to lead to Eli Drinkwitz being shown the door. It could end up leading to Hugh Freeze having to pack it up and fire up a resume. So that's where you look at. These are two teams that I think drastically will determine the overall pecking order in the SEC based off how they look in this game. What are you getting on the ground from Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts? What are you getting from your quarterback? Is this the moment where, hey, we brought in Bo Pabula to be the dude from Penn State? He's being the dude. He's absolutely handling business and kicking ass against a road opponent. And this is your first road test of the season. Remember, at this point, you have played 6 consecutive games back to back to back to back to back to back at home. You have built that identity. You have built that rapport. You have built that chemistry and that continuity for this moment, your first road test. So can you handle that pressure? Can you be able to stop Jackson Arnold? Can you eliminate one or two of the wide receivers, whether it be Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman, or it's Malcolm Simmons and Cam Coleman, and you leave Eric Singleton open? Can you make this offense one-dimensional? Because one of the biggest problems for Auburn last year was they were one of the worst turnover teams in college football. They were terrible at executing, especially on third down. But what if you make them obsolete in the passing game and they're forced to run the football? because they don't have a great running back like Jarquez Hunter leading the charge this year. They have a good running back in Damari Alston, but you don't know what that could be. A win in this game on the road after playing at home for 6 straight weeks, or I guess 7 if you include the bye, that would do wonders for setting a standard out in Como this upcoming season and for what teams should expect when you welcome in the Tigers. And yes, that environment is going to be rowdy. Yes, they're going to have a team that I think is talented enough to put you in a pressure concern. But this is a moment where all the pieces that you brought in via the portal, they got to step on up and they got to make sure that they're playing for Mizzou football. They're no longer playing as, oh, we're just guys playing on this roster. No, they're one sound mindset and body of Tiger football on Saturdays. All right, then the next week you go to Nashville. And the reason I made sure I brought up this game was because at SEC Media Days, we were asked questions and we heard Eli Drinkwitz talk about the road schedule. And some dumb reporter, me being the dumb reporter, asked him what was it going to be like to play 6 straight home games before you have to go travel on the road to Auburn and travel on the road to Fayetteville and travel on the road to Norman. And he stops and he says, don't forget about Nashville with that Diego Pavia kid. And I forgot about that game last year. Well, most Tigers fans didn't, because that was a heart attack on steroids waiting down the track. You needed a field goal to guarantee it in overtime to just ensure you were winning that football game. Diego Pavia balled on out in the second half, and now he's going to have the home crowd behind him. And I can tell you what, yes, most times Missouri is not going to fill up the stadium in an opposing road team. This is one of those times where it could be 50-50. It could. If the Tigers travel on over to the state of Tennessee from Missouri, from Como, the way First Bank Stadium is built, it does at times feel like a road game for the home team. But what if it's not? What if this is a year where, hey, Diego Pavia brought in a lot of amplitude. Diego Pavia changed the culture. You know, we have a lot of Commodores fans that are coming into town because of they like to see their football team actually be successful for the first time in over a decade. Yeah, we're actually going to be at this game. So what if that road environment is now completely different than what Alabama went into last year, or what Tennessee went into last year, or what most teams go into in the past? How are you going to handle stopping Baba Yaga? And again, this was a quarterback that last year found ways to beat you. Down in the fourth quarter, still able to slip and slide past a slew of Tiger defenders to be able to punch it into the end zone and send the game to overtime. Do you feel like that you have that next punch? And what do you feel like in this game to where maybe, hey, our defense is doing its job, but we're not getting enough on the ground? Do you have that moment where, hey, X receiver stepping on up? Is it going to be a Kevin Coleman? Is it going to be the freshman from Dallas? Is it going to be a Marquise Johnson? Maybe it's a tight end position. Somebody that you know is already going to win his one-on-one battle, put you in a position of success, keep the chain moving, and take away all hope and aptitude that, yes, Vanderbilt's going to get this win. That's what I'm looking for in this game. It is. I think that you're a much more complete team than Vanderbilt, but you do not have the quarterback position right. At least not right now. And again, Bopa Beulah, Matt Zollers, we can talk about Sam Horn. They're all really talented players, but it's a what you see is what you can get later on down the line. I know what I'm getting in Diego Pavia, and that's a dude that is not planning on losing many games this year, especially in front of his hometown crowd. He's not doing that. So do you have enough gusto and fight? Do you have that secondary punch? Do you have that dude who's going to step on up and deliver on his side of the bargain to where you feel like, yep, we're walking into this game with a win without even quality play? We can be 50% and we're still going to feel fine. Then you get a bye week. And the bye week is really good because then you welcome in Texas A&M. And many of you remember that game last season where this was a top 10 Missouri team, at least in the rankings. And people said, okay, you win this game, you go down to Kyle Field, maybe we'll start taking you seriously. And they proceeded to have bad play after terrible execution after terrible execution. They weren't prepared. They looked dreadful. They had no life offensively, and they proceeded to lose by double digits. And it was the beatdown of all beatdowns. And a lot of people who were defending Missouri, yours truly, had to go crawl into the cave and just say, you know what, not this week, guys. I can't do it this week. Well, now you get to walk them in. Oh, and by the way, you get to walk them in after a bye week. So you get to get better. You get to get healthier. You get to put yourself in a position where, hey, we've gotten time to study the film and we've gotten time to rehab our bodies. Can you deliver that punch? This is a very good Texas A&M team. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Love their running back room. Think that their quarterback play is going to be sufficient this year because of Colin Klein and Marcel Reed, I think, speak the same language. They're on the same wavelength. I think when you look at this defense as well, that's another thing that you have to kind of throw out there. This is a defensive front that is still going to have that punch because Mike Elko's the quarterback, the head coach. And that's something that he has always been predicated on. Spoke to somebody recently out in College Station. They like their defensive tackle room. They like their linebacker depth. They like their nickel position. So that's going to take away maybe a Kevin Coleman. That's going to eliminate an Ahmad Harding. So who is going to be that guy to step on up on the outside? What can your defense do? Is this a game where you are seeing a Josiah Trotter maybe go on a delayed blitz and sack Marcel Reed for a strip? Like, is this one of those games where you look at somebody in your secondary, whether it be Norwood or whether it be Jalen Catalon, whoever it is, are they able to step on up and force an incompletion on third down or a big turnover to get the ball back in positive territory for Missouri? Because this is the game, in my opinion. You don't want to lose this game because of A&M and Missouri, just like Auburn, I think are all in this category of you win this one, you not only get bragging rights, but it kind of sets you up a little bit better to make a run for the college football playoff. Because nobody's going to care if you lose to a South Carolina team and they end up like inside the top 15. Nobody's going to care if you lose to Alabama because Alabama, by most people's standards, is supposed to be in the college football playoff, if not the SEC championship. You can lose to maybe Oklahoma and still get a pass because of we don't know what Oklahoma's going to be this year. But if you win those games against the two teams that you feel like are at your level or that in your mind you're better than, there's not really a lot of things to be talking about at this point. You're in a good spot if you are Missouri. I think their roster as a whole is very well put together. I just got to see it in action. These are 3 games that are all winnable. These are 3 games that are all losable. And by any means, they can all happen. You win these 3 games, you're talking about potentially a 10-2 season out in Como. A third 10-2 season with Eli Drinkwitz at the helm, who just got paid, not looking to leave anytime soon, and now starting a new legacy of becoming the greatest coach in Tigers football history. If you lose these 3 games, now we're talking about what is going to be bowl eligibility. What are we going to do this offseason to better our roster? Because we got to change our schedule. And a lot of these games that we thought were winnable this past year, yeah, they're not going to be here next season because you got to welcome in a Texas, a Georgia, and a couple of other teams that could absolutely go ahead and knock you the hell out. But let me know in the comment section down below which 3-game stretch will define Missouri's college football season in 2025. Like, review, hit subscribe. Make sure you're following us on social media at SEC Unfiltered, at Mr. Cole Thompson. And check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. Until next time, folks, I am Cole Thompson. M-I-Z. I think you're going to be better than people advertise this year. Bye.